This session is how to create local offers that convert, your key to paid ad success. Your presenter today is Allie Bloyd. Allie's the owner of Allie Bloyd Media, a marketing agency specializing in content marketing, social media marketing, and lead generation for local businesses. She's been in the marketing field for 8 years and is passionate about helping local businesses drive engagement, awareness, leads, and sales by using educational and engaging content through paid social platforms. She's been able to drive millions of dollars of revenue for her clients. And most recently, she's the host of the top-rated Marketing Inc. podcast. Allie, welcome to the summit. The floor is now yours.
Before I dive in, I'll do just a quick introduction for those of you that don't know me. My name is Allie Bloyd. I'm the founder of Allie Bloyd Media, and I focus on training and coaching local businesses, but also people who work with local businesses like marketers and agencies. I also have an agency, but these days I focus a lot more on the training side. I did start the Marketing Inc. podcast in March, like Phil mentioned. It has been an amazing, amazing experience. Such great information that I'm able to put out, just a lot deeper than I can do on other platforms. So it's been really incredible to further help local businesses in that format. I was able to win a 2 Comma Club award from ClickFunnels, which is ultimately an award given to people who have been able to generate over $1 million in revenue from a single online sales funnel. And I have really been just blessed to be featured in a lot of really great places, such as Social Media Examiner, Digital Marketer, Forbes, among others. So my specialty is really Facebook and Instagram ads. However, I have done just about everything in terms of marketing. I was a marketing director for local businesses for about 5 years, and I have experience in every area of local business. So it really gives me the opportunity to kind of show the entire picture, which I think really makes me special in a lot of ways. So what do I want to teach you today? Number one, what an offer is. If you had a clear idea of what an offer actually was, I can guarantee you you'd be using it. So I know a lot of people here today really need to hear this. I also want to share why it's so crucial, so important. And most importantly, how you can actually identify which offers are going to be the best fit for your business, make them really exciting, powerful, and profitable for your revenue, but also something that customers and clients are very excited to get their hands on. So this is a big misconception that people typically have. They hear the word offer and they automatically assume that this is a discount. So a discount is an example of an offer, but it is not the definition. What an offer really is the way that your products and services are packaged and presented. This should incentivize your audience to act now. Even if it's something they've been thinking about for a while, if what you're presenting to them is very lackluster, they have no real reason to act. They've been fine without it up until this point. So having a sense of urgency for them is very important. And that's what a great offer is going to do. It's also going to allow you to have a system that will bring in new leads and new customers consistently. So getting a new client or customer is the most expensive thing that you can do in terms of marketing. It's the hardest thing to do. You're getting someone who's never heard of you to now become a buyer. If you can have existing buyers and become more profitable from those people, that's much easier. We're really going to talk about both of those because we want to bring in a steady stream of new clients, but we also want to make sure that we are maximizing the value of those who are already buying from us. If you could simply increase your average order value or your average sale value by 10% without doing anything else, that is going to give a significant boost to your bottom line. Your offer is so important to your advertising results because the truth is that it doesn't matter what your copy says. It doesn't matter how good your targeting is or how creative your creative is. What matters is what you're trying to get someone to buy. This is the cornerstone of your entire advertising campaign. Every single thing that you build, from your landing page, your messenger campaigns, your actual ads themselves, your follow-up campaigns, all of those things really need to be tied into that one offer. And the content that you put out should even be directly related to that offer. So without something in mind on the front end, you're going to have a really disjointed and disconnected advertising campaign. And that's not what we want, because that's not what will produce great results. If you find that your ads are not working, stop looking at your copy and creative or your targeting. Start looking at your offer. That's typically the first thing that we would want to test and switch if things were not working the way that they should. So I've come up with what I call the I.N.S.A.N.E Offer System. So this is really just an easy way to help you remember some of the elements that you should have inside of your offer. So again, this is the single most important part of your advertising, whether that's online or offline. So please remember that. If you remember nothing else from this presentation today, your offer is crucial. This is the reason why someone is going to take action. So it doesn't really matter what you're trying to get them to take action on or do as their next step. Maybe it's to call, maybe it's to sign up for an appointment, to claim a promo code or set up an account. Ultimately, you want them to buy, and your offer is what will do that. So what we want to do is help you find something that's a great fit for them and a great fit for you by really analyzing your business model, what you sell, what type of audience you're ultimately reaching, and what's going to be most profitable for you long term. So these are some of the elements that you need to include. Number one, like I mentioned, this needs to be a profitable offer for the business in question. What makes an offer profitable is going to be several different things. Number one, is there a demand for the product or service that we want to center the offer around? Most businesses provide more than one thing. You're not necessarily going to be able to create an offer around everything you sell. So you really need to either find one product or service category, or maybe a single product or service. That's going to be the starting point for your offer. You want to make sure that what you select, people already want. The biggest mistake you could make is take a product that isn't selling well or a service that isn't selling well and try and build your entire marketing system around an offer focused on that product or service. The market has already told you that they're not that interested. You could tell yourself that it's because you haven't properly marketed that product or service, but let's be honest, a lot of times if somebody wants or needs something, they're going to seek it out. Even in your typical sales conversations, if that's being mentioned and no one's taking advantage of it, you don't want to focus on that. So find something that has already proven that people want it. You want to have the largest possible market for this offer, and that's really why we do it this way. You also want to focus on your margins. So depending on what your business does, you may have very slim margins already. Retailers typically have lower margins. If you are a retailer, there's definitely certain things that you can do to overcome that, absolutely. And we'll talk about some of those today. But focus on the things that will allow you to make the most money. So sometimes it is having that higher demand product that gives you more opportunity. Sometimes you might opt for something that has slightly smaller market, but your margins are bigger. You can sell fewer of them, but still make more in profit. So you also want to find something that has no risk for the consumer. That's going to be something that we talk about throughout this presentation to really get clear on it. But you as a business, you are not guaranteed money from anyone. Every consumer out there has a lot of options. They have a lot of different businesses that they can choose to work with. Sometimes there is a very high risk factor in working with any business. It doesn't matter if it's a low cost thing or a high cost thing. Sometimes the risk goes far beyond that. If I was trying to hire a plastic surgeon, I'm probably going to lean more towards the most expensive as opposed to the least expensive, because there's a very high risk involved with if I choose the wrong person. It could be something like, getting your roof replaced. If something's done the wrong way, it can cause future problems. But it can be as simple as a salon cutting or coloring someone's hair. To a person who lives with their hair every day, there's a major risk factor in choosing the wrong person, because once the job is done incorrectly, it's very hard, sometimes takes a very long time to reverse that. So don't believe that your cost is directly associated with risk, or that what you do doesn't have risk involved, because for most things, it's going to. You also want to make sure that this is scalable and easy for you to fulfill. What we don't want is for there to be a huge demand for this, and then your business is not able to provide what you promised. That is going to have the complete opposite effect that we want to have. You also want to make sure that this offer is very appealing to your avatars and your business model. We really want that to be a perfect match. You also want to make sure that you never overpromise. It really goes back to keeping your word, delivering what you say you're going to deliver, and not just hyping this up or making false claims, because we really don't want to do that. There is enough misleading marketing out there. We want to take the high road, have integrity, and only present things that we can actually do. We also want to make sure that it exceeds expectations. And so that may seem like kind of backwards. We want to make sure it's very easy for us to fulfill, but we also want to exceed expectations. Well, the truth is that your time is not always directly tied to exceeding expectations. Sometimes it's the process or additional resources you can provide. There's a lot of ways to do this, but you really want your offer to check all of these boxes. So make sure that your offer, by the time we've gone through this presentation and you've really gone through the process for your own business, completely fits this I.N.S.A.N.E offer model. So there are 3 core offer types that we're going to talk about today. We're definitely going to focus a bit more on loss leader and product preview offers, but gated content is very, very important for every single type of business. You may have heard the term lead magnet. If you're in the marketing field, that's definitely a term that we are fairly familiar with. This is essentially a gated content offer. So if you have a lead magnet and you chose no, you're not using offers in that poll, you're actually wrong. However, a gated content offer on its own is typically not enough to really change the game for you. You need to have gated content paired with other types of offers. We can talk a bit about that as we go through, but essentially this is valuable information in exchange for their personal information, like name, email, maybe phone number. The goal of this type of offer is to build your list, but also it can be used to lower lead cost and segment your audience in terms of their interest. So again, your business probably sells a variety of products and services. You want to make sure you know what someone's interested in. If you don't, how are you going to effectively retarget them or send them the right email campaign that actually piques their interest? Because most of the time, just because someone is interested in one of your products and services does not mean they're interested in all of them. The more specific we can get, the more we can sell. Your loss leader is something that should lead in to your core offer. So this should be something that is useful in its own right, but is essentially incomplete. There's more that someone needs from this. This could also be an entry point offer. So what is that first point to get someone into our ecosystem to become a customer? You also want to make sure that it gets them in at the right time. And it could be a free thing, but it also could be something that breaks even on maybe time and or materials. So a lot of people have a lot of fear involving loss leaders. They hear the word loss and they automatically assume that this is going to lose money for their business. If I could give you one suggestion right now, it's to fall in love with the loss leader, because I see so much opportunity for businesses who really embrace this type of offer, because when done the right way, it's most likely going to be the single most effective offer that you can run. We're going to have to consider a lot of other factors, which we will do, but this can be great. You just have to be brave and realize the purpose is not to only have someone buy this one thing. It's to buy the other things or to buy a lot more things. A great example of this is a retail store that sells diapers. So diapers typically are loss leaders for a lot of retailers. The reason being is that the person buying diapers is a new parent. A new parent has a lot of needs. They need to buy formula, they need to buy bottles and pacifiers and cribs and strollers and all of these other things. If you can get that buyer who needs a lot to come into your store, odds are they're going to buy a lot more than just diapers from you. Diapers are also something that have to be bought over and over again, very consistently. And they also are paired with wipes. Diapers and wipes go hand in hand. You could have the cheapest diapers in town, but your wipes could be more expensive than the rest. Ultimately, you're going to sell a lot more by advertising your diapers. Even if your wipes and your strollers and your cribs and your bottles are what you really want to sell, the diapers bring them in repeatedly and they capture a lot more of the audience. If we were to focus on strollers, for example, not everybody needs a stroller. Not everybody needs a stroller right now. So if we were to focus on that one thing, we're ultimately kind of eliminating some of our audience. But because diapers are so broad and they're used by everyone in that new parent audience, essentially, we're able to bring them in and then find out what they really need, guide them to the perfect solution, ultimately resulting in much higher sales. Your product preview offer is something that most of you probably have without realizing it. So a product preview has no value without actual intent to buy. It's going to give people just a little taste of what you do, maybe show them the experience that they'll have, or it could be something that happens after they purchase, but ultimately they do not really need or want this unless they're seriously considering buying from you or buying the thing that you provide, not necessarily from you. The next thing we need to make sure we understand is a front end and back end offer. A front end offer could be that introductory new client or new customer offer. It's only good that very first time they work with you or buy from you. This is something that is going to bring them in the ecosystem, but also it could be something that doesn't require them to just be using it their first time. Diapers, like I just mentioned, are a great example of a front end offer. People can buy those low price diapers as much as they want. It's going to keep them coming back. But the back end offer, such as the stroller, crib, value pack, is going to get them to spend more once they're already in your store. So even if you don't have a physical storefront, this does not matter. If you have any business that is local or service-based, there's got to be a conversation that happens before the purchase is made 9 times out of 10. So your goal has to be to really understand, I've got this person in with my front end offer. Now I either have a back end offer that's going to apply to everyone, or I really need to talk to people about what it is they really want and need, find a solution for that person, and then offer it. There's a really great example of using upsells to increase revenue. So I see this problem with almost every local business I work with. There are services or products you already have. Those things are already needed by the leads and customers you're talking to, but no one is ever mentioning them. If you could implement one single thing to make more sales with those back-end offers, it's to put together a little checklist for the person talking to the leads or having the appointments, or the cashier at the store. And this needs to be a list of add-on sales. For instance, a carpet cleaning business, they're getting calls about cleaning someone's carpet. That's great, but guess what? People also need new pads. They're not going to clean their old pads. We're just going to sell them new pads. I would probably say that at least 60% of everyone you speak with is going to actually need that. By not mentioning it, by not even offering it as an option, you're doing a disservice to that customer if they in fact need it. If we run a business or work with a business we believe in, we have an obligation to share the products and services with the people who need it. So if you can simply see it like that, it doesn't have to feel salesy or pushy. You simply have an item list and you can just go through it. Hey, do you need new pads today? Do you want to add a special scent to your carpet cleaning? Whatever it is that will add on dollars to that sale can be part of the back end offer. You just need to make sure that you are systematically offering those things when you're speaking to someone or when they're actually at the point of purchase. So here are a few examples of what some of these things could look like. For gated content, we've got checklists, quizzes, templates, lists, swipe files. There's a lot of different formats that we could use for a gated content offer. Essentially, what I like to tell people is you want to focus on the thing that's the most useful and will actually keep people referring back to it. I am a huge checklist fan. The reason I love them is number one, they're very helpful to me. I live my life through basically a series of checklists, and it does allow you to simplify more complex processes. Anybody who gets a checklist that they really need, they're not going to look at it once and never look back at that again. They're going to refer to it. I can't tell you how many times I've had people tell me that they print off my checklists, which are one of my gated content offers, and keep them on their desk. How powerful is that? That my name and my logo and my call to action and my contact information are sitting right there. They're going to continue to refer back to that. Anything that's helpful is also going to be shared quite a bit more, which is again, free advertising. So the most important part of this, however, is that you need to offer your core offer right on that thank you page. We're not going to dive too much deeper into gated content today, but if you can simply understand that it needs to be useful, let's not spend a lot of time creating an ebook that no one's ever going to read. We don't want to wait until they open that lead magnet to see what our offer is or try and convince them to buy. And we also don't want to simply use our email campaign to convince them to buy. We don't actually know who gets our emails. That email could have been undeliverable. And if that's what you were relying on, then you've missed the opportunity and the perfect moment. So have your core offer on your thank you page, and your gated content offers are going to have a significant boost just because of that. Loss leaders could be purchase one for, we'll call it like $6.99. It doesn't really matter what the price is. It should be a very attractive price point, lower than what the price is typically in the market. So you just need to look at your own products and services and say, what is this for me? It could be a free or discounted first step. So for a restaurant, it could be free appetizer. A discounted first step could be your first month at 50% off. It could be some type of new buyer offer that only is able to be used that one time, such as free haircut with your first color treatment at a salon. It also could be a live event. A live event is kind of a mixture of all three of these, but I ultimately consider it a loss leader because you are spending your time in person educating people, probably going to provide food, maybe a gift bag. So you are providing things without a cost, but this can be one of the most effective loss leaders out there. You also could do some type of plan or strategy if this is service-based work. So obviously, as a marketer, you could do a strategy for someone. You could also do, if you're a landscape architect, you could do a preliminary design. If you are someone who, helps people implement anything, having an actual plan is very valuable. Your product preview is typically going to be something like a free estimate, consultation, but it could be financing. Financing is an offer. It's one of the best offers for high ticket because you don't have to discount anything. You still get paid your full price, but it is a very beneficial thing to the end buyer because they may not be able to pay for it all at once, or they may simply not want to, which makes this much more attractive and again, incentivizes them to buy. It could be something that focuses on saving time. If normally it takes a month to do what you do, and you're able to do it well in 2 weeks, giving somebody what they want faster, that is an example of an offer. It could also be something that you get as a bonus after purchase. Think about the free gift bag with your makeup at the Clinique counter. That's a very long running, free gift with purchase offer. You could do a bundle, or you could even do some type of subscription. Subscription-based pricing is an offer, and there are a lot of benefits to that. And we'll kind of go through which of these would actually be the best fit for your specific business. A few things you want to consider before you really dive deeper is, what are the things that people really struggle with when it comes to buying my product or service? What are those internal factors? Is it that they feel like they don't have the skills to do it? They don't want to expend the effort that it requires? Is it maybe it's focused on time? Maybe it has something to do with just confidence. If it's external, it's probably something to do with money. Money is an external factor. Convenience, how difficult is this for them to actually acquire? And how much competition is out there? Are you competing with a lot of different people for more of a commodity style product? Once you can understand those things, you're really going to be able to identify what needs to go in this offer to make it more attractive, because you want to try and overcome these things with your offer. So when we talk about competition, what type of offer might focus on that? It could be something that really demonstrates your unique selling proposition. If there is something significant about what you do that is different from your competitors, that's a great thing to focus your offer around. If it's something financial, like I just mentioned, financing is a great offer, but it could also be that discounted first step, or it could be some type of subscription or bulk pricing that ultimately reduces the cost, but you're getting a lot more volume, so it's still beneficial to you. It could be something, again, time focused, where you're saving them time or you're getting it done a lot faster than competitors. Effort and skill kind of go hand in hand, but if there's anything that is required of the buyer, given what you sell, what can you do to make their lives easier, to allow this to be a no-brainer, that anyone can use it, anyone can do it, it can work for just about anyone without requiring a significant amount of effort. Simplicity is also something I can't stress enough. If you are a retailer or someone that has a lot of services, I can tell you with 100% certainty that there are a lot of your clients or potential clients that are overwhelmed just at the selections available. What you need to do is simplify this process by showing them what's the best fit. That could be through a bundle where you're saying, these are the things that go best together. This is what I would suggest. It could be some type of package or a quiz that identifies what's right for them. Too many options is almost always bad. And then convenience. That could be something as simple as delivery, which I'm sure a lot of you, if it applies, have already started doing in the last several months. Those are the things that we want to do to help the client or the customer benefit most from our offer. But what about you? How can you benefit the most? Well, the first thing, again, I would look at what has the highest margins. Ultimately, the same amount of effort and a lot of times money will go into selling a low margin item versus a high margin item. So if you're going to have to spend that time and money, why not just sell the thing that you make more money from at the end of the day? Also looking at that highest demand. Again, we want a large pool of people to pull from. We want it to be broad enough, like those diapers, that it's going to get our ideal client or avatar to call us or in the door so that they can learn more about the other things that we have available. You also want to look at buying patterns. So is this something that people should buy yearly? Is it something they should buy quarterly, weekly, every 5 years? Whatever this is, you can create an offer that focuses on that. So this could be something where if it's a monthly thing, maybe every 4 weeks, create an offer that allows them to get a monthly service. You could do a package of 12, which would be a 1 year, and maybe they only actually pay for 10 of those. But I can guarantee you that even if your product or service is designed to be purchased every month, a huge percentage of your buyers are not doing that. They may be buying it every 8 weeks, every 12 weeks. If you look at salons, that's a great example. Women know they need to get their color touched up or get a trim or whatever it is. That doesn't always mean that you go as often as you should. If you can create an offer that gives you more frequency, even with a slight discount as an incentive, you're going to come out on top. Customer loyalty could simply be a rewards program or a referral program. And I really want you to consider, what is the buying cycle? Is this a long-term thought process before someone would buy, or is this decision made very quickly? If it's made very quickly, you really need to be aggressive. If it is a long-term decision-making process, you have a bit more time to convince them, but ultimately it does allow more competitors to come into the mix. Finally, you want to focus on what you can do well. If you can't actually deliver a quality service in 2 weeks as opposed to a month, like I mentioned, don't use that as your offer. You want something that plays to your strengths, not something that's going to stress you out. If you have a very weak sales team at the moment that does not offer upsells, that is not comfortable really encouraging people to buy more, you may not want to start with your loss leader. And if you do, you need to really focus on training the people involved to do it the right way. Otherwise, it will not work for you. And then finally, what are your long-term goals? So if your business has certain products and services, and you already know some of those are really where your passion lies, don't create an offer around the products or services you want to stop selling at some point. It won't make sense for you. You want to find something that you can use long term. The goal with an offer is not to have like a Memorial Day weekend sale. This is something that you should be able to use day in and day out for as long as humanly possible until it stops working. That's going to allow you to not have to touch your marketing very often. The offer's so important and everything's going to relate to it. If you can prove that that works, just refreshing ads and testing new things on the ad side, that's going to be where most of your time lies. So I'd highly encourage you to think long term, not on something that's actually going to have to be switched regularly, something that you can keep for as long as possible. So knowing what type of business model you have, it's going to be pretty straightforward. I'm sure you already know what that is. However, it does impact which offers might work best for you. As I mentioned, if you are a product-based business, margin is really, really important. If you want people to continue to come back, if this is something that has repeat buyers, you really want to focus on an aggressive entry point offer because that will get them in that first time. You're going to make a lot of money over time having them buy that thing again and again and again. I really love bundles for retailers. Loss leaders also work very well. Again, just like that diaper example. If you are a service-based business, highly encourage you to test out that loss leader. Most of the time, service-based businesses are the ones that are most hesitant to do this because there is time involved. It's not just money. However, you can factor that in to what this offer becomes. And if you can really have somebody that is comfortable upselling based on need, not, just selling for the sake of selling, you are really going to see a major impact from this. It just has to lead into that core offer. And most of the time, you've got to get in with them at the very right moment. The moment you capture someone's attention is extremely important. And you can actually use your offer as a way to do that. A hybrid could be an example of, maybe it is a salon and spa that sells products independently, but they also do the service. So that could be, one or the other. There are businesses that are just salon products or just salon services, but if they're selling both, you can interweave those together. Those products are another opportunity to increase your average sale value. It's also an opportunity to get people coming back for those products. And when they do, You can say, hey, have you already scheduled your next appointment? It gives you more communication, more just experiences with these customers, allowing you to make a bigger impact and ultimately sell more if you are focused on that. Definitely having a product preview is always great, but ultimately kind of weaving those two together is what I would highly suggest. The actual model of your business is definitely going to impact the type of offer that you use. So we've got 4 core options: recurring revenue for a high ticket business, recurring revenue for a low ticket business, a one-time purchase, whether that's high or low. This also could be more of an infrequent purchase, not necessarily once in a lifetime, but just not something that they're going to need on a regular basis. And then we also have model-based offers for retail or bricks and mortar. So if you're a recurring revenue business of any kind, high ticket or low ticket, your money is made over time. If you're high ticket, obviously that gives you a lot more flexibility to be aggressive, because if you're charging a significant amount each time they purchase, then that's great. It's going to allow you to give them a much lower risk in that introductory offer, because you know the money is going to be made over time as long as you provide a quality service to them. If you are low ticket, it's the same exact concept, but what I found is that lower ticket recurring revenue businesses have a hard time understanding their own model. So this could be someone who cuts hair. This could be a laundry business. This could be maybe a dental office. Anything that doesn't cost a lot, but does need to be done every week, every 2 weeks, every month, every 2 months, something like that. So these businesses have to focus on customer lifetime value. Okay. Your customer lifetime value is going to be based on 2 things: how long they stay with you, so the frequency of the purchase, and how much they spend each time. You want to focus on getting as many new customers into your business as possible, because that's what a low ticket business needs to really explode. They need more customers, but they also need to heavily focus on getting those customers that come in to stay with them. Do loyalty promotions to those people. You know, we recently switched our cable and internet services, and we had been with the previous company for 10 years, probably longer. It's basically a monopoly in my area, but this was a business that we had paid so much money to over time. They give all of their great offers to new clients. You know, as soon as you sign up, you're going to get this great offer. They literally do nothing for their loyal customers. They provided horrible service. They continued to increase our bill. We didn't get any better service. And then when we tried to cancel, of course, they then offer this really low aggressive price. Well, the truth is, if they had simply done something for us over time to show that we were a valued customer, we probably would not have switched. So don't just focus on that front end. You've got to focus on what you have and getting those people who do come in to stay as long as possible. What that means is you've got to do a great job. You've got to have things that remind people to purchase or to schedule or whatever your next step is. And you also can't expect to acquire a customer for that price that they pay the very first time they work with you. It's definitely possible to do that, but too many recurring revenue businesses in the low ticket sector, they assume that their money and their return on investment can be determined after a month or 2. And that's just not how it works. So take a look at your customer lifetime value based on real data and come up with the value of each new customer, with the realization that some are going to stay for a month, some are going to stay for 10 years, and you need something that mixes those two together. So if you've been in business for a while, you already have that data. You may just need to dig for it. One-time high ticket or low ticket. In all honesty, a one-time low ticket purchase is something that I don't even encourage people to really sell at this point. That could be something that goes in a retail store, but it's not something that you would focus a business around. If you do, you should probably just be selling it directly, e-commerce, so you can clearly see what your costs are and you can try and scale in that way. If you are a less frequent or one-time high ticket product or service, building trust is going to be crucial. And also the timing of when you get that person in your ecosystem is going to be just as important. So I love using this example of one of our students was a wedding photographer and videographer, high-end services. Well, what we did was create an engagement photo offer that's really aggressive. So if you can get that person in for the engagement photos, which is oftentimes the very first time they're ever interested in professional photography, you're going to be able to develop a relationship with that person, allow them to work with you at a very low risk rate. And you're also going to be able to get a taste of what someone can do for you. Because of that, you're going to simply be able to offer your core services, which is the wedding package, while you're there with them. And if you really wow them, it should be an easy sale for you. But then they also do lifestyle photography, family photography. So you'd be able to get the maternity photos, the newborn photos, the family photos year after year. So because you get them in at the right time, you're able to have so much more value from that customer. So think about for your business, where is that moment when people realize for maybe the first time that what you do or what you sell is a great option for them? It does not mean they'll necessarily buy at that moment, but it means that's when you really need to capture their attention. If you don't, other people will. And then you're going to be just caught in this price war with other competitors, and nobody really wants to be in that place. For retailers or bricks and mortar, which could be something like a restaurant, you do want to focus on customer loyalty. Sometimes you want to focus on kind of a tiered offer. So that could be 3 different offers. They get that first one in, and if they work with you or buy from you that first time, they get something different. Because with these types of businesses, it is recurring revenue, but it's slightly different because you actually need to bring them in. You just want to get them in as often as possible. It does develop loyalty, but they're also going to be more exposed to what you have. They're going to end up buying other things from you. They're going to refer you to other people. And also that bundle offer that I was talking about, reducing the overwhelm with too many choices. A great example would be a combo meal from like a Mexican restaurant. They pair these different things together because they know there's so many options. People just want to be able to pick and feel good about what they've decided upon. And you can do that for them through your offer. You also want to consider what your price point is. So low ticket, obviously you need a lot more volume. So having a loss leader that provides more volume in the way of leads is going to be really, really great. You can definitely do a gated content offer, but again, every business should have that. And you need to promote your core offer after they've opted in for that. So anything that you can do to sell to a larger market with a high demand product or service and add that frequency or that customer lifetime value, that's what you want to focus on. For mid-range, a lot of times you really need to make yourself stand out. If you're at a very similar price point as a lot of other people, you've got to have that USP. You also want to make sure you have a very clear value ladder in place of when someone buys from you, what is their next step? What can I do afterwards to allow them to spend more, allow them to refer me to others more, or allow them to buy from me more frequently? For high ticket, you definitely need to focus on exclusivity, urgency, and have something that gives them confidence in what you do. If it's a product, you want great reviews. If it's a service, you want great reviews. But you also want to be able to showcase validation, results, social proof, whatever you want to call it, that this is a good choice. It's not always about the money. A lot of times it's just about the value that's being provided. And if you can't clearly communicate that, they're not going to pay any price for it. For urgency, you can do incentive-based pricing. So fast action discounts or pay in full bonuses, anything that gets them to act faster. Because the truth is that usually with high ticket, especially with the less frequent purchases, if you don't get them in at that moment, it's not that they'll never come back. It's that you may have lost them to a competitor forever, because once they buy from someone, they may not have a need for this thing for a long time, or maybe they get into a contract with someone else. So because you didn't get them to act faster, you ultimately really lost out in the long run on that specific consumer.
Hey,
Finally, you want to look at, yeah,
Hey, Allie, we are
yeah,
technically at the end of our time right now. I can
okay,
give you another 3 or 4 minutes. I know you've got
totally
more
fine.
slides than that. Maybe you can focus on what we really need, and we'll come up with a way to get what you don't get covered right now in a different way. Does that sound good?
It sounds great. And actually, I have an offer creation workbook that's going to be provided with this. You guys are going to get this information. I'm going to kind of, I wouldn't say speed through the rest, but I'm just going to touch on it. Just know that you can get this workbook to actually go through yourself. So, really figuring out where you fall in terms of who these people are. Is it everybody, like a salon or a car service or any business that serves a huge population, versus a luxury market or a niche specific market? That is going to impact the offer that you choose. This is something I really want you guys to focus on. But again, just get the offer creation workbook. You're going to have these things, and you want to try and have at least one of them included with that offer that you should have already put together. So these a lot of times are based on urgency, scarcity, exclusivity, and price. Somebody can find one of these to work for any business. And then finally, reversing that risk. You want to have something that lowers the risk to buy or switch. So, this is something I'll say about any business that maybe is low ticket and recurring. If someone's working with someone else already, it doesn't mean they're not going to be willing to switch. Maybe they're slightly unhappy, but they need a reason to make the switch. And a lot of times that is a financial incentive, but a lot of times a very low risk incentive. So adding one of these to your offer is super important. And then there are several questions you're going to want to ask yourself to really determine which product and service categories or specific products and services you want to focus this on. There's actually a lot more questions. So if you are interested in these, definitely get the workbook. You'll get them all. And then finally, let's just summarize. The number one thing that we want to do is make sure that you realize how crucial your offer is to all of this. When ads aren't working, look there first. Number two, make sure you take your business structure, your goals, and your strengths into account. Make sure that you really do something that's going to work for your audience. Make them comfortable using you or switching to you and really excited to do business with you. And finally, you've got to advertise this offer. Facebook and Instagram, perfect place to do it. You've got so many opportunities, so many different markets and avatars on these platforms. It's really a no-brainer. So finally, make sure you're tracking this. If you have an offer, you need to know how many people claim this offer, how much did those people spend over time. That's really the way that you're going to be able to see the true success of your offer long term. And finally, I just want to thank you guys for being here today and for listening to what I have to say. Truthfully, I hope that you've gotten so much from this presentation. I know that I believe this is one of the most valuable presentations I could have given to you. So do not hesitate to get that offer creation workbook. I've already sent it in. Lori should definitely be putting that somewhere that you guys will have easy access to it. And the marketing podcast is another great way to get more content just like this. If you are interested in seeing how we can help your local business, or if you're a local marketer, I'd love to talk to you. So just visit my website and you guys can schedule a call and we'd love to chat. So that's all I've got for you today. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the summit. Hopefully I'll see you tonight.
Yes. Thank you so much, Allie, for all that great information. Peter said this has been very good information. I think that's the sentiment of everyone here. We have already uploaded that workbook. It's in the member site where you got access to this event, so you can download that already. And Allie, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me always. I appreciate it.
And I think you said if people do have follow-up questions, the best way is to DM you on Instagram.
That works. My Facebook inbox gets super cluttered. If you want to talk extensively, definitely book a call, but I'd say Instagram is a great place to message me.
All right. Thank you again, Allie. Really appreciate you. Folks, we're going to take a short break and get ready for our next speaker.